Hi, this is Will at Unit Capture. I'm going to try and show you how to take a fairly flat looking background and make it sort of a little bit three-dimensional so you can place things on it in a way that they don't look as if they're floating. Pretty straightforward, this particular approach, so it shouldn't take very long. Okay, in my layers palette I have the main picture as you can see showing here. First thing I'm going to do is make a copy. So on the Mac that's a Command J, on the PC that is a Control J. For the sake of clarity, I'm going to click this little icon here in order to make the background layer disappear in terms of visibility. Now with this top layer here selected, with a little blue band around it, I'm just going to do a Command T or Control T on the PC, and I'm going to grab this top toggle here and do a click and drag that right down here somewhere. To maybe about there somewhere, doesn't really matter, and I'm going to hit return to put that in place. I'm now going to go back to my background layer. I'm going to do a Command J, Control J on the PC to create another copy of the background layer, and I'm going to do a left click and I'm going to push it up above that this one here we just modified. I'm going to switch this one on by clicking just there. With this top layer selected, I'm now going to do a Command T, Control T on the PC. I'm actually going to grab the move tool here as well, and I'm just going to push this up a tad until you can see it meets the line here of the one we just modified on the layer below. So jiggle that around a bit, whatever. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit as well. So with this top layer selected, I'm going to do a Command T. Once again, that's Control T on the PC. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit, which is a Control on the PC, Command on the Mac, Command minus sign, just to zoom out a little bit so I can see on my screen at least the area of this box here. Grab the top one, and I'm just going to pull it down a little bit to suit. See if it squashes it up. No, you know what? I'm going to leave it where it is so we don't distort the blackberries. Hit return. And what you've got there is an assemblage of something that looks about right. We've got a bit of a white line, so I'm just going to just see if we can pull that down a little bit there. Maybe just pull it down over the top, something like that. It looks sort of 3D-ish, but it's not particularly wonderful. So what we can do now is we can grab this bottom layer here, the middle layer here, sorry, this one with the our floor, if you will, in it. And again, I'm going to do a Command T, Control T on the PC, and now I'm going to go to the Edit menu, Transform, and Perspective. And then I'm going to grab one of these corners, doesn't matter which really, and I'm going to do a left click and I'm going to drag it in. So now you can see we're getting some sort of perspective going on. And take it to about there, whatever suits really. You can squash it down a bit more if you like. With this selected, you can actually, if you want to, change what the modification is and come down here, for example, and put, let's say, scale. And now I can grab this and I can move it in and out again to suit myself. So you can do that. You can change that particular action. So I'm just going to hit return now because I'm happy with that. But now you can see our background doesn't really fit very well. So the back wall, that is. So I'm now going to select the top layer, Command T, Control T on the PC. And I'm just going to squish these in a little bit till they sort of meet, like that. And this time I will bring that down because I've squashed it in. Hit return. And finally, what I'm going to do on this particular one is I'm going to grab the crop tool, and I'm going to crop an area in here. Let's say something like that. And now if I zoom in, I'm getting a little bit better here. You know, I'd expect you to spend more time getting the size of these right so it merges a little bit better. But just to give you an indication what it's going to be like, I have a little basket which I opened earlier. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to drop it straight in here. So now I can take that my little basket, bring it onto the floor. I'm going to make it a bit bigger actually because it seems to be a bit lost in there. So I'm going to do a Command T with that layer selected. That's Control T on the PC, and I'm going to click this little icon here, which means that when I stretch it, it won't get all distorted. So if I just click on that, grab a corner, then the whole thing grows without horribly distorting and so on. So I'm going to plonk that on there, like that, and that sort of sits there. I might mess around, might put a drop shadow on it, something like that, just to make it sit there a little bit better. So I think it gives you the idea, and of course you can play around with that perspective and the amount of distortion and all manner of things to suit yourself. So hopefully that will give you an idea. And one thing I just thought about, which I probably should have done actually, is on this bottom layer, before I set the distortion on it, it's probably best if you flip it over so that the background and the foreground marry up a little bit better than I have it here. But hopefully that will give you the idea of how to do that. Anyway, see you next time. Cheers.